Just a quick disclaimer, if you're not a fan of music or like music, then you're not gonna like this. So maybe mute me real quick or I don't know. So we're Choral and this is our team. I'm Owen Jones. I worked on the front end.
I'm Sergio Cohen-Salama, and I did the audio processing in the front end.
And I'm Peter Ferrantino, and I worked on the back end.
Okay, so at Choral, our mission, we believe every musician should be able to work with anyone, no matter where they live or their situation, because we love music. We think it brings people together from different cultures and affiliations. It has a healing quality, and we can all use a little healing right now. And it's collaborative in nature. That's also kind of the problem, especially when you're trying to make music. It's collaborative, and you need a community to foster creativity usually. And if you have no musicians in your network and you are not going to build it, it could be hard to make music with people you don't know. I'm an introvert myself, so I understand like meeting new people is tough.
So our solution to that problem is Choral. And Choral is a remote musical playground where a user can share sounds that they create. They can collaborate with friends to create songs from the sounds. And they can also browse through the site's feed to find other artists to collaborate with. And now we are going to take you through a walkthrough of Choral. So we're going to log in as user Pete. And you're taken immediately to two feeds. So we have our Explore feed, which we're on now, which is all of the posts that people have been posting to Choral. And then my feed is just the users that you're following. In this user's case, they're only following themselves. So we're going to go to one of our sessions, which are called Reefs. And here we have this Reefs cover artwork. And then we're taken down to the title of the song, the user who created it, and all the information, including the genre, the BPM, the key it was written in, and the chord progression. And then a user has the ability to collaborate directly from their device if they hit record live, or they can upload a file. And when you upload a file, and name it, it goes directly into the pool. And the pool is all of the tracks that have yet to be merged. So we hit play. And at first we will just hear the tracks in the red section, which is our original post and an additional bass. The black and white photos up top, when you click on them, they go into color and they're unmuted. So we have some guitar from Sergio, some horns from Owen. I like these horns, so I'm going to merge them into my track down here. But I want to raise the volume on them up just a little bit. So you can fully mix right within the app and move it a little bit over to the right, which allows for panning as well. We're going to add some of Sergio's guitar and unmute it. And we'll also merge this collab that I just uploaded. We can save the mix, and it'll save all the panning positions as well. And we decide that we want to bounce. Bouncing will allow us to download the session for at least a small amount of time so we can show it to other people. So we'll bounce right here. And it will save as a separate file.
You have to stop to bounce.
It'll save as a separate file when you download it. And it'll be all of the songs and your mix as written. And there's an extra track in here, so we just want to get rid of that because we like it the way it is. And we're going to clear the pool. And then we can now go to our collaborators, which is all of the users we've ever worked with. And we really like the way that Sergio played the guitar. So we're going to click on his page and see what he's working on. Check out his information, see if he's in our area or what other instruments and music he likes. And we're going to follow him. And then we see he has a track here that he's uploaded. So we're going to preview it, see what he's been playing. We decide that we like it, so we're going to upload a file as well. We're going to upload some bass. And when Sergio logs in, it'll appear in his pool as well. Then we can create a new reef, or we would name it, and we also have the option to record live directly from the device. And it'll record a user's audio, whether it be on their phone or straight from their computer. And that is Choral. Some of the technical milestones that we had worked on was we really wanted to take it from just being a social media about music into a full digital audio workstation. So we added the ability for the users to mix with volume and panning, as well as direct recording from whatever device the user happens to be logged into Choral from.
Another goal that we had when we kind of designed this app was to make it accessible, simple to use, and cross-platform, which means that you can use it in your cell phone and it would work, and it will play. It will also like sync the audio. So that became a hurdle pretty quick, because the technology that we were using for audio processing is the Web Audio API, which is built into the browser, but it's implemented in different ways according to what browser are you using. So a solution for that was to use a library that kind of like standardized and the Web Audio API and like solves all the kind of exceptions that you have. Like for example, the panning in Safari has to be 3D, and so the same code wouldn't work. So Howler.js was the solution that we found, which is kind of it's a wrapper for the Web Audio API that provides us cross-platform compatibility, and we're really happy with the result.
Some future implementations we really thought about was peer-to-peer messaging. Since it's collaborative and you have multiple musicians working on one sound, we thought it'd be good to add like chat messaging, maybe something inspired from like Twitter's DMs, or maybe like Facebook's instant messaging would be good. Yeah.
We also wanted to add an interactive clickable drum machine that will allow the user to make music directly from the app, as opposed to solely relying on either recording a microphone or uploading from another digital audio workstation.
And another thing that we really want to do, like as soon as possible actually, is to implement fragment specific collaboration, because right now when you want to collaborate in Choral, you have to start from the beginning of the song, and that's kind of a limit that we don't want users to have. We want users to be able to collaborate from any point of the song, even if they want to collaborate with 5 seconds, which could be, I don't know, a sound, or they want to like collaborate with a solo instead of a whole arrangement for the whole song. That's going to be possible, and that's one of our future implementations. Okay,
thank you for hearing about Choral, and we'll take any questions.
Very cool, guys. Oh, sorry, Jaime, go ahead.
I'm sorry. The record live feature, I'm curious about that one. I've never seen that before in a web app. So.
I didn't understand the question, sorry.
I'm sorry, how does the record live feature work?
Oh, yes. And that's, we're using the media recorder API, which is another API that creates a stream and it's listening to the audio that it's coming from your microphone. And yes, and when you hit the button, you enable that. You have to authorize the microphone. And when you hit the button again, it stops recording and it generates the file that's accessible via front end with conditional rendering.
Interesting. And at some point, you save that to the backend, I guess.
No, it's never saved to the backend. That's one of the things that we found it convenient, because it means that a user has to make an extra step to upload, so he has to be sure that he likes what he recorded. So we don't have like a flow of mistakes to the backend. Like the user will be required to download what he recorded and upload it.
How does that look in the backend once the user likes it and decides to upload it?
It's the same as if he uploaded directly, like Peter did in the demo. So it's kind of for live recording. It's just a feature that the website gives you to be able, instead of having to use your, I don't know, your voice memo app, you just can do it on the app.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, so this looks like it would be, oh, sorry, somebody else want to go ahead?
No. I had a question earlier, but actually it was related to Hyman's question, which he already asked. But I am curious mostly about, have you guys ever thought about is it possible in your platform for someone to like take someone else's like snippet and recording and kind of like upload it as their own and say that it's theirs?
Peter, you want to take this?
Yeah, so in a future implementation, when a user signs up, they're going to have to agree to like an open source policy for now until we privatize users, so that all music that's uploaded is open for collaboration and for downloading from others.
No copyrights. I mean,
Right.
if you use Choral, you have to kind of be in this kind of, you have to have this belief that you don't own what you create, because everything has been already created.
Right, like in that sense, it would be more on the social media aspect of Choral, which is where anything you write on social media can just be copy and pasted and say that it was like my original post. But from that end, we're allowing the open source of all sounds on the app.
Cool. Thanks, guys. You guys did a really good job.
Sorry, Paul. You put a message on Creative Commons license. Okay, thanks for putting the link. Could we message you more about that to get more information about it? That sounds really interesting.
Sure, happy to talk about it.
All right, thank you.
So the question I had is that your app seems like, since it's manipulating sound, it'd be compute intensive. Have you thought about how you would scale it up if all of a sudden you had 1 million users?
I mean, we want to set a limit well, right now it wasn't necessary, but we want to set a limit of an amount of tracks, a maximum amount of tracks. And we already have a limit of a maximum length, because you can't upload a file that's over 15 megabytes, which will mean roughly 15 minutes in MP3 quality. So that's one of the limits that we need to have. And another limit would be having like a maximum of 12 tracks, merged tracks. So that also will kind of lower the amount of processing that the web audio API will have to do. We're using buffers, so it's kind of everything gets preloaded before it's played. So that's kind of the safest way to do it. But also I'm aware that if you play too many tracks, those buffers kind of start cracking up a little bit. So it's a matter of fine tuning that limit. I think it's about 12 tracks. It would be possible to play without any like unexpected results.
Okay, thank you.
A round of applause for Choral.